What's going on, guys? My voice is gone. I just got back from World Cup Finals, which symbolizes the end of the season, and that's why I got my beard nice and long here. It's cold. It's cold out. I lost my voice from screaming all weekend over the cars. So yeah, great weekend. But that's all we're here for today. We're here for this here. So Sean Forney, which you've seen before on the channel, he's had not one, not two, but this is his third Supra. Worked on his black one. He had a white one I never did touch. Now he's got this new one here. It's a 97 special edition. I believe it's either DJG or is it IGM? I can't remember because the 97, 98 are different, but this is a 97 model. And it is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I wasn't being rude to him. Don't mind that, so that scratches. It's just fingerprints, I guess. But this car is very nice. It's already modified, AMV2, single turbo. The works. The car, for the most part, runs and drives. He just wants a little upgrade, BTI gauge. He wants flex fuel. It only runs an 85. The tuning's gone over. It doesn't want to cold start properly. Just little things. Sorry for my voice again, but the inside of the car is gorgeous. So there's the inside here. Look at the seats. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. This has a T56 Magnum in it also. I'm going to get it up on the lift. I believe it has an 8.8 too. Let me actually double check here. Be able to tell real quickly. It does. You can see right there, it's got a Grannis 8.8 in it. Has a brand new HKS exhaust, and the paint is brand new. This was a glass out paint job, and it was done very well. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take it for a drive here today. A few issues, he said. He says power steering doesn't feel like it's working. Some small little things. Cold start's not the greatest, which I noticed. And yeah, we're just going to pretty much revise the tune, put some little upgrades, and that's about it. Before we get to the BTI gauge, Sean also asked me, one, he wants me to drive the car. It does have doesn't have steering down low. What I mean by that is it doesn't have the feedback to actually help assist it. So, which is there's a pump controller motor right here. See these two wires? There's a plug on the other side. I want to double check that, make sure it's all wired in and working. If it isn't, which it doesn't seem to be plugged in, so I need to look into that. But the car's not bad. And again, it's a 97, guys. It's an old vehicle, and excuse my voice. I've still got a sinus infection here. But the car's in pretty good shape. Again, T56 mag. It has a Grannis 8.8 in it. Pretty nice car. It's got a dual feed setup. We're going to leave that for now. Depending how long he wants to keep it, we can redo everything. But again, keep with what keeps the customer happy. Again, Grannis 8.8. The car is in pretty darn good shape. It's a lower mileage car too, which helps. So yeah, I mean, it's just got dual pumps, very basic setup, and it just works. So keep it simple, stupid. I know it's not a Ryan special, where I usually go overboard, and I kind of like the fact that we're not. One thing I want to try and do here, this is bothering me. If you can see, the intercooler's crooked. That's bugging the crap out of me, so I'm going to try and fix that here today too. So I'm skipping around here, guys. I just busier than busy can get. I will show you the BTI here in a second. There's some stuff I want to go over with it too, but just pulled the spark plugs, and I pulled this because I want to do a compression test. It's just an easy way. You just pull the EFI fuses, and the car can't crank over this way, where I can crank over, but there's no fuel spark, nothing of that, so you don't flood the engine. But pulled all the spark plugs. The car is in decent shape. The boots on these aren't ripped or anything. Wanted to look for that first and foremost. The coil packs don't look bad, but what I did notice, you can see the paper is soaked there. Number 1 and 2 definitely have oil. Looks like there's a valve stem seal. I already spoke to, Sean about this. It's not the end of the world, but we're going to replace all the spark plugs. It looks like there's a valve stem seal, which, again, it's a lot of work to replace them. If he wants me to, I can, but I don't see the necessity as it's not smoking, so that little bit is not going to kill it. I'm going to put in a little bit better spark plugs. These are just copper. These are BKR 7Es. I'm going to put in some iridium plugs. They'll do a little bit better because it breaks up under higher boost, and these guys just aren't keeping up. On top of it, they look a little old, to say the least. So we'll get those out and get the new ones in. And again, I did get the BTI gauge in now. Let's go about here. Again, you can see the old V2 down there. And the BTI gauge is in. Now, if we go ahead and keep the car on real quick, so it's going to get a little sound here, guys. There we go. Supra. And you see all the information. Now, the one thing I had to find out with this is, I'm going to take this back out. The one thing I did find out with a V2, and I talked to Brandon Talkman about this, you have to set up like the telemetry and stuff, because this doesn't really have a CAN protocol. So like you legitimately have to set up the CAN protocol and tell everything what you want it to do. So like you have to give it all the bits and information, and even still it doesn't really transfer via CAN. It's very weird how it works. but it's going to do for the most, it's going to be able to read a good bit, just not every little single detail like you would see on an Infinity, a Haltech, Elite, or Nexus, or a Motec, M-Tron, so on and so forth. So just be cognitive of that, guys. The V2 is a very old ECU now. There's not many guys that are upgrading to, say, a BTI and putting it on an AEM, but it's not the end of the world. Just wanted to tell you guys that. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull the fuel pumps. Just want to check the bags, fuel lines, everything else is fine. Pull it once over, and then the car goes for tuning. Took it for a drive, has some hesitation issues. The car drives, it starts, but it needs some cold start tuning. And then in between, I want to check over some of the wiring. And then I also have the flex fuel sensor. So I just crimped this. It's just TXL wiring, which is obviously better than OEM. Sleeved it, ran it down through the car there. Going to run it to the other side. Yeah, I'm going to mount it down there somewhere, because right there is a fuel lab pressure regulator. So yeah, almost done here. Very basic setup. There isn't a whole lot to really show you guys, but I do love this car. This color is just like gorgeous. Hopefully when it's all done, I can show you guys more of it out in the sun, because it's absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to at least show you guys the car outside, running and driving here. New spark plugs in it. Didn't gap the plugs. The car cold starts so much better, but when I went to get into boost, now it's breaking up a little bit, which is just, it's cognitive of it. I just measured it out. They're a little bit different. The coil pack could be a little tired too, because on low boost, it shouldn't be breaking up like that. The coil packs could be a little tired. We can gap it down to get around that, but that, which again affects cold start. So it's a kind of a catch-22 situation there. But the car is just gorgeous. I love it. Love the wheels too. Again, GSC S1 cam, so no crazy low, but still sounds fantastic through an HKS exhaust. Stu Hagen gauges, and now at that 4.3 on there. Though again, one thing, this car doesn't have fuel pressure and oil pressure sensor. Other thing it doesn't have set up yet is the map pressure, because you have to actually build that table too. Again, another thing that has to be built, but it will show 85% here once the gauge is hooked up. So I got the wiring down there. I'm just literally waiting on 2 clips for the sensor. It goes right here in the engine bay, and that will be done. So that's all I'm really waiting on. All right, guys, and we're done. So flex fuel sensor is in now. Got it mounted down over here. We're done. I try to keep everything as simple as possible. BTI's in. Only thing I got to do is button up the plastics here. Again, a lot of this stuff was already in there, so you can see some of the wires and stuff. I did add a Deutsch connector for the wires I did, so if he wants to unplug the flex fuel sensor, it can be done. Again, you have to hardwire into this. Again, this is a factory harness, so a lot of cut and splicing from before me, even for myself, which I hate doing, but it's just a situation unless you want to spend a gobs of money for realistically no reason, but I don't like splicing wires. So I did cut, splice the wire, and then I crimp it, and then heat shrink it with glued heat shrinks to keep it sealed. And proper, and not, you know, I hate butt connectors, so that's a proper crimp. And yeah, and if you need to, like I said, you can be disconnected. Over there is a Deutsch connector. So it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's what's going to have to work for this situation. So from here, I'm going to put everything back together, and he is going to pick this up Sunday. There's his box with everything. So yeah, the only thing that won't work, because John's going to have to scale it, is the boost gauge doesn't work currently, because it's going to have to be rescaled for this. And then the flex fuel needs to be set up. And again, the tuner will take care of that, and then it'll show up on the screen then when that time comes. Again, because this doesn't have a real CAN protocol, and this BTI gauge versus the old one uses totally different programming. So again, you have to recreate that. And again, I'm gonna let the tuner take care of it. I got it all set up, and most of it works. That is like straightforward, but the other stuff has to have like your own physical scaler, and it's really weird, especially because this doesn't use a normal boost gauge. It's showing inside the software, but it's not showing up the gauge, because you have to make your 5-volt scaler for it. A little bit annoying, but again, that's part of having V2 versus a volumetric efficiency style ECU, or like an AIM Infinity, an Elite, or a Nexus, or a Motec, M-Tron, so on and so forth. Good ECU, this works fine, but there is definitely, it's showing its age. So on that note, guys, this car is awesome, but I'm going to be signing out. If you guys have any questions, concerns, anything else you wanted to know about, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much, and talk to you later. Peace.